anyone to leave Christchurch because they haven't had a say in rebuilding its future.
Melissa Lee.
Mr. Speaker, it's a great pleasure to rise to speak in this general debate, and I join my female colleagues across the House who are in congratulating all women and celebrating the 119th suffrage day. Do you know, I remember the centenary celebrations in Auckland, and that was probably the first time I had actually heard about the suffragettes, because as a migrant, I had heard that New Zealand had in fact given the vote to women first around the world, but I had not actually heard the stories about Kate Shepherd. So I feel very proud to be a New Zealander. But having said that, I'd like to comment on a couple of things that was actually said before by Sue Moroney. I think Ms. Moroney talked about how Kate Shepherd would be ashamed on our stance on extended paid parental leave, which Labour proposed. And I have to say that, in my view, Kate Shepherd would be ashamed of Ms. Moroney. She stood for ambition. She stood for equality. I don't know, but back in those days, I would have thought that the suffragists would have actually carried their babies fighting for equal rights on their backs or in their front. They would not have actually sat there and said, we want 6 months paid parental leave. I have to say, as a mum who actually went back to work, who actually took responsibility for my own child, I actually went back to work, and I should not be made to feel embarrassed or ashamed that I went to work and not a good mother, which the opposition often tries to make us feel. We are proud parents, we are proud mothers, we are women, and don't actually say in this House that Kate Shepherd will be ashamed of us. I think because she will be ashamed of Sue Moroney for saying that women should actually cower and say, we are women, we should have more, we actually deserve more than this. I don't think so. She stood for equality. She stood for ambition and aspiration for women. That is not what she actually asked for. Talking about Annette King, she was talking about homelessness in single women. And of course, none of us actually celebrate that. We all want to make sure that all New Zealanders, including women, have better opportunities and don't have issues with homelessness. But I have to say, I'm surprised that she commented on that, because Labour and opposition have opposed every single initiative that this government tried to propose to improve the lot for New Zealanders, including things like more mining for oil and gas exploration. What about making welfare work? What about, the opposition actually opposed a 90-day probation period for new employees. They actually opposed that. 13,000 new jobs were created as a result of that particular policy, and 60% would not have gone out there and actually given that new person a job had it not been for that particular policy. And 13,000 new jobs is a lot of new jobs, Mr. Speaker. Foreign investment is another one that the opposition actually opposed. What about, foreign investment? Let's talk about Mr. Cameron. What's his name? Mr. Cameron, from Canadian filmmaker, James Cameron, who actually moved and bought a farm, big farm in the Wairarapa, invested millions and millions of dollars in the Wairarapa. They opposed foreign ownership. Well, let me say, Mr. Cameron just announced that I think he's going to be making a sequel to Avatar, which will create 1,500 new jobs. Hobbit haters, Avatar haters. I say, let's actually celebrate these kinds of investment, which actually provide investment in New Zealand, provide more opportunities, more jobs for New Zealanders. What about the public sector reform? What about the health service? I have to say that I love the fact that we have more doctors, we have more nurses, and we have more midwives remaining in New Zealand instead of going overseas, because we have created an opportunity for them to stay here. The bonding scheme has meant that we have in total 1,800 more nurses, 1,800 263 doctors, 218 midwives, 13 radiation therapists to stay in New Zealand since that scheme was introduced in 2009. I remember back in the 2000.
I call the